Welcome back to the Media Club. Tess Daly has been presenting the BBC's flagship Strictly Come Dancing for 21 years. Now she's announced she's leaving at the end of this season along with Claudia Winkleman, her co-host. Scott Bryan, a friend of the show, posted this on TikTok and Instagram today.
I think one of the most surprising things about Claudia Winkleman and Tess Daly leaving Strictly is just the fact that it happened randomly on an Instagram reel uploaded on a Thursday morning. Normally how this goes is that a newspaper would have it on their front page, then the broadcaster would be scrambling a statement together, but then you would also have a carefully curated statement by the presenters after that. With this Instagram reel, was that to get ahead of a newspaper dropping a story? Why also, currently, it's about 10:52 in the morning on the Thursday. Why has there not been any statement from the BBC about this? Normally, journalists would get an email to say, hiya, these presenters are leaving, we wish them well, thank you for the contribution, blah, 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 blah. Not happened. It's a bit weird.
It is odd. I mean, I think every kind of entertainment media journalist in the UK was like suddenly rushing to Instagram rather than checking their emails, which I suppose from a PR's perspective is not what you want to happen. So what Scott was saying was what, we also assumed at broadcast, which was that, one of maybe the tabloids was about to break this and they were trying to get ahead of it. But, if it was something that you would assume is something that was happening in the works for a while, maybe they would have announced it at the start of the series, because if anything, that might encourage more audiences to come, because people are so attached to Tess and Claudia. They've been there for 20 years, and I think in Claudia's Instagram post there was some. She said that there were some rumblings because they had been there for so long, and I suppose Claudia's, especially her stock value, is so high at the moment. We were just talking about the traitors. And, it could be, that it's just come to a natural conclusion. But again, with what Scott was saying, the timing is just strange, because you would think that it would either be as a release, potentially at the start of the series, so it's a big goodbye finale rather than halfway through the show. And there was a statement eventually put out on the media centre, but at like midday. So there was quite a significant delay. So it is a little strange.
That would suggest the BBC did not know it was going to happen.
Yes. Because
even if they were like, let them say it and then we'll follow up with a release.
You would expect that kind of within the hour.
Yes.
Within the half hour even.
Yeah. What happened?
I mean, I'm not surprised that they've decided to leave. I think it's a bit. They've been there a long time, and I would say they're both smart women, and they've got smart teams around them. And I would say there's a thing about going out on top, as opposed to overstaying your welcome. And I suspect this is a good time to go out on top. I think it's also not a surprise to do it where they can get a good goodbye, because I think you don't want to cheat the audiences where you don't get that moment to say this is the last hurrah. However, I do think it was a very strange situation this morning. I, like Scott, feel maybe a newspaper had it, was going to run it. It wanted to be there. It's such a big story, and perhaps felt they had to run it today before someone else got it. So I assume everyone tried to get ahead of it, which feels then the scrambling happens. And I guess from the BBC's point of view, the press release they put out has to be perfect, and they have to take more time over it. But I suspect maybe Tess and Claudia didn't feel like they had the time. So I'm not surprised that we're going to get new presenters. I think that actually could be a good thing for the show, keep it fresh. But I do think that something has clearly happened to make it happen on 10 a.m. on a Thursday morning. What that is, will we ever know? But I think if it was already confirmed, they probably would have announced it pre the final show.
I mean, Heather, it seems like there would have been a disagreement between the stars and the BBC. The fact that wasn't aligned, and that they decided, actually, we think it's important to go for it, so we're just going to do it, and then we'll force everybody else to have to follow our lead.
It does seem like there was some dissonance between, often when there are these big announcements like that, everything runs very smoothly, and, as we were saying, you get that release and everyone's, put their quotes together, because, if you, when we get a commissioning story or something like that, we're going back and forth, we're waiting for all the statements to come through, so everything's nice and aligned so that it all goes out. So it does seem like there was some rushing. And the other thing that did feel odd was if they were planning to leave, and they weren't planning to announce that today, but at some point, at what point was that going to be? Because there's not that much longer of the show left. There's another 4 or 5 weeks.
My feeling would be that you announce it on the show, not on the sofa at 10 a.m. on a Thursday,
and maybe in Blackpool or something.
Right?
Yeah,
you make it into a big moment, and I think they'll be gutted that they've not got that moment now. And I think they deserve that moment, but 100%. There is another reason as to why they've done it this morning.
So, fantasy, Strictly Come Dancing. Who would you put in?
Well, I've got a lot of comments. That'd be great. I think.
Has your phone just been buzzing? People going, any chat about
it?
This?
Has. No, it has. And I think that I've spoken to a few friends who are agents at other agencies, and their phone has been buzzing too. So yes, we have a lot of thoughts and ideas as to some of our clients that could do it. I would assume that they're not going to start really looking at new presenters until this series is wrapped early next year. Does that stop me or any of from getting in touch pretty soon? It won't stop me, of course. But I think the names that I've heard that aren't our clients, I'll just say the names that I've heard buzzing around already today are names like OT, Rylan, Zoe Ball, Clara Amfo. These are all people that will definitely be in the hat. It's one of the biggest gigs on television, but it takes a certain kind of person to host it, and a certain kind of person that has huge live experience. I think that's going to be crucial and a fun. And you've got to love the show. I think one of the things that Claudia, they love this show. It doesn't seem like work for them. So I think the BBC are going to have to really work out who those people are and where they go from here. But yeah, listen, today is one of those days. They're very rare, but I love them as an agent, where suddenly you go, ooh, I've got something to do today, and it is plotting and planning as to who we think that we have that might be the best people to replace. And
would you pitch like a double act, or would you look at separate talent that could pair well together?
Yeah, I think both. I think it depends on. I mean, do they want a double act again? There's no reason why it has to be two. Could be one, could be three, but. We would look at that if we felt we had a natural thing. I mean, there could also be a cross-agency thing going on where if I've got somebody I know their best mate who could also be right is at another agency, we could do that thing. We go, let's go in together. But no, at the moment we're just sort of working out not so much who the right person could be from ours, but just trying to get inside intel as to what they might be looking for. There's no point going to the important people at the BBC and just throwing any old name. I mean, that's just going to annoy everyone. What we really
they might not have thought about it yet. This might have been pushed on them a little bit, and what they want the next series to be.
They wouldn't have thought about it yet. But does it stop us from wanting to have that conversation? No.
Okay.
We're going to make them think about it.
Good. And Heather, BBC, there's always in drama. There's always trouble. Suddenly they've got a great hit show, and it's a talent management issue as well for their big star was on two of their hit shows.
Absolutely. And I saw some people starting to speculate whether this would be, mean that Strictly was rested, but I absolutely don't think that's going to be the case. It's a massive shame. And I think the BBC will feel that loss. But, with the right people, with people like Alex pitching the right people,
Thanks.
It could be a really good excuse to reinvigorate the show because, again, we do the ratings on it and it does slip down a little bit each year. So maybe it's a good chance to breathe some life into it.
They reinvigorated it when they joined as well. And things have to be kept fresh. And they've been there a long time and they're stars. Obviously, to me, I think it'd be very hard to argue that Claudia isn't the biggest TV presenter in the country right now, and I think she deserves that title. And we'll see what they do next. But I think for Strictly Come Dancing, because they rarely change things up, they rarely change the dancers either. I think it's a great opportunity for them to do something different.
Okay, one to keep our eyes on. Right, Warner Brothers Discovery is the talk of Hollywood after rumours of a sale emerged this week. Heather, who's in line to buy it? Or where's this sort of come from?
Good question. Well, it ended up kind of coming to light after Paramount made, I think, 2 passes on it so far, which have both been rejected. But they
lowish ball offers, people are saying.
Yes. They do seem to be the most keen and also, I suppose, make the most sense. Netflix were another one that, this was all kind of buzzing around at MIP last week of people debating who might take it. And I think their co-CEO, Greg Peters, he kind of poured cold water on it and was like, it's very unlikely that we would be interested. And yet, when we were chatting about it with people, if it wasn't Paramount, I would say Netflix's name was the one that was coming up the most. And also, if Paramount did buy Warner Brothers Discovery, it would be the biggest competition for Netflix. I mean, there were some other names bouncing around, like Comcast, or maybe one of the big tech giants like Apple or Amazon might be interested.
I mean, it could help fill up Apple's somewhat empty catalogue.
Their little carefully curated catalogue with, hundreds of channels and a huge archive.
Warner Brothers themselves were sort of in the midst of announcing a split.
Yes.
So we're going to put their sort of legacy cable news and cable TV assets in one pot. Some people call that a shit code. It's very mean, very mean. And then the kind of the sexier streaming and studio stuff would be kept with the current CEO, David Zaslav.
Yeah. So there is a chance that there could be a bit of slicing and dicing of, Paramount might just go for maybe the sexier option. And then what happens with the rest is kind of unclear. I don't think, in terms of dicing it, that they would make it any smaller than one of those two. I think after that it would be too small and too complicated for the size of the kind of deal that I think they would be looking to make. But it is definitely possible that it could go for one or the other of those two options, which they are in the process of.
I assume that for as long as Paramount, Skydance are the only ones making an offer, they will continue to lowball until there's competition, I guess.
Well, the other thing for them is because they get on very well with Mr. Trump, they can probably get a deal through. And bear in mind, Warner Bros. Discovery have CNN as part of their operations. I'm sure Mr. Trump will take more of an
I think
interest.
he's going to have a big say in this as well. I think there's a lot of companies that he doesn't like and wouldn't want to see get involved. I think from a content point of view, and all of us in the industry, we want to ensure that there's still as many places to go as possible. I think my fear, whenever you hear these things, is does this shrink, or does this, ultimately, companies coming together, buying other companies is fine until we start getting rid of other things and getting rid of smaller things and what's left. So I'd be interested to see what would happen and what would get bought and what would get carved up. And
now, I'd be inclined to agree that I think, though, if they were to combine, that would be such a huge raft of IP and channels. There would have to be some pretty major cost cutting as part of that, probably redundancies as well, just because it's too big. It would just be too much to handle.
Well, I think we've already seen Paramount, Skydance announce a load of redundancies.
Exactly.
If they had CNN and CBS News, I imagine would probably come together. There's always been discussion that maybe CNN would be part of one of the the legacy news networks.
I mean, if they bought the whole thing, you could see a future where Paramount Plus and HBO Max combined. You'd have a huge streaming platform, which I guess is why maybe Netflix don't want to completely reject it, because if you had that versus Netflix, then suddenly Netflix are no longer the biggest dog in town.
Is it still called HBO Max today, or is it something? It's still HBO Max for today.
It's HBO Max again now, I think.
Yeah.
Formerly Max, formerly HBO Max.
There's plenty of time to change, particularly when you had Paramount.
See what happens tomorrow.
Yes. Okay, just before the break, Ofcom said it won't be changing the rules on whether politicians confront news programmes. Instead, they've updated the guidance on their broadcasting code. Ofcom have been in a bit of a mess with this. There was legal judgments against them, driven by GB News, that like a bit of this on their network. Sort of, is this a bit of a fudge? Ofcom just trying to provide some more advice? Is it any clearer?
So I was slightly surprised by the result of this. So they launched this consultation in May, and that was following a court case with GB News, which they actually won, surrounding... Which is
unusual. It's unusual to win a high court case.
And that was, I think it was a Jacob Rees-Mogg led programme that was about. So in May, they launched this consultation because they wanted to change some of the guidance around, I think it's Rule 5.3, about politicians as presenters. But then in the kind of announcement that they put out this week, it said that when they were having this consultation, there was a lot of concern by the people that they were consulting that it could potentially lead to this kind of de facto ban on politicians ever presenting programmes. And because of that, Ofcom have now decided that they aren't going to change that rule. So there was all this, noise about it, and then essentially nothing is going to change. But they have clarified some guidelines around it to try and make that rule more clear, so that I suppose there's less wiggle room to try and get out of it.
Alex, I mean, Ofcom haven't kind of covered themselves in glory with this. They don't. It looks like GB News has won the argument, and Ofcom are kind of on the back foot.
Yeah, I think I've worked a lot with I've had a few clients over the years work with GB News, and I know them very well. And I think it's interesting when you go into those studios and when you meet the senior people there. They're you feel what they're trying to do in a way. You see what they're trying to do, and then the figures don't lie, and you can see, they're still here. Yeah. Everyone said it wouldn't last more than a day. I think they have to be careful as to not go too far, and I think obviously there's been times where they've been told they've gone too far. I think they're still finding their feet as to like what the boundaries are, and they will go to those boundaries. I was very intrigued to see, as about a year ago now, when they announced Boris Johnson would be joining GB News. We haven't seen that yet. I assume not, but I'm not sure what happened there. But that was going to be such an interesting, having an ex-Prime Minister turn up. I think that they will always...
It's a question, do they really need it? I mean, what they've done, they're doing pretty well. If you I don't think of them particularly as a news channel. Like, they're a very successful comment channel, which appeals to a large audience.
There's a lot of debates.
Yeah, the average audience, if you compare it to a news channel, they're doing kind of better than some of the news channels are. But they've got basically repeatable programming that's on every day that people make a connection to. It's sort of a bit more radio-like.
There's a lot of what they do and obviously they have the radio aspect as well.
Which had very successful radio figures this week as well.
Right. So I think they're just trying to do things differently, and when you try and do things differently in a world that hasn't done things differently for a long time, this happens. I think obviously everyone has to be careful that they're abiding by the guidelines they have to. But if you were to say to me, will GB News continue to push boundaries as far as they possibly can? Yeah, I think so. Because it seems to be working for them. Will they get in hot water again one day down the line for something? We'll have to see.
It's very cheap marketing. Having a big old row is excellent cheap marketing.
Yeah, I think they're very buoyed by the fact that they won this. And I guess it slightly feeds into that whole, standing up to...
Us against the blob.
I have to be honest, I do meet more and more people who are watching GB News more and more. At the very beginning, first year or two, I didn't know anyone that watched GB News. It's not such an unrealistic thing to hear someone say to me that this is the channel they now watch. So they're clearly doing something right,
Okay, when we return, how do established talent agencies navigate the streaming world? We'll see you in a sec.
Hello Media Club listeners, Patrick here from Podcast Discovery, the podcast marketing company, where this week we've been thinking about making money. What do revenue streams look like for podcasts in 2025? Video makes for an exciting new form of income. More expensive to make than audio, yes, but much cheaper than traditional TV. But how do you make a podcast that's worth watching without just making a TV show? To find out what we could do for your show, head to podcastdiscovery.com. That's podcastdiscovery.com.
Welcome back. Here's some stories we've been talking about in the club this week. International sports streamer DAZN is making an audacious bid to snap up the Champions League global rights. A few streamers have made live sport work at scale. We remember all the problems that Netflix had in its early days. But DAZN managed to stream 63 Club World Cup games without a hitch. Meanwhile, Global hosted its Upfronts event for advertisers this week, revealing more information about their newly announced global studio. On stage with the newsagent's Emily Maitlis, who announced a new show about the infected blood scandal, alongside fellow studios Callum Airy. He was there for the first time too. And Channel 4 is aiming to draw more young people to its news content, commissioning a series of podcasts fronted by comedians and entertainment presenters. The Talent, which includes Stacey Dooley and Ben Zand, as well as YouTube's Comedy Thing, aim to counter a recent report that said young people have more confidence in social media posts and friends than in established journalism. Links to all of our stories are available on our Substack, free to sign up to at themediaclub.com. If you do give us your email address, you also get Briefed, which is our weekly update of what all the other podcasts from the media are talking about. Go sign up for free at themediaclub.com. Our guest is still with us. Thinking about that, Channel 4 going for more digital talent. You've got a decent number of those on your roster, Alex.
We do.
Is this what more broadcasters are going to be doing?
100%. And if they're not thinking about it, then they're going to be quite far behind. It's amazing to me how quickly creators have evolved into now broadcasters and TV stars. We've seen it on Celebrity Traitors. We've seen it on Strictly. Nico on one, George on another. I think everyone's woken up, and the brilliance of our creator division. They're getting younger, but they're getting smarter, and they know the benefits of television. I think a few years ago, when we were to go to one of our creators to go, would you like to be on TV? There was a bit of this kind of like, do I need it? Even creators now see the need of coming together with the TV industry.
Is there a need to be on TV? They've got their audience.
I think so. I think
it's a watered down version when they're on the telly. No,
sure, but I think you find a new audience. I think first of all you find a completely new audience that aren't following you on YouTube or any of social. I think it gives you, as a creator, it gives you credibility that is just not achievable elsewhere. To be a creator who's now on television is like a stamp of approval. And I think that TV, also they want to impress their mums and dads, right? So being on TV is always a good thing to show they actually do have a real job and a real career. But for us, our creators division and our unscripted division, which has all of our TV presenters, it's kind of one and the same now. Our TV presenters are moving to YouTube, and our YouTubers are moving to TV. And I feel like it's just one big thing now. So, for me, working with our creators is really exciting because it's not just about social media and it's not just about brand deals. It is about TV, podcasts, books and everything else that a traditional talent would be interested in as well.
Is there a problem that the bigger organisations are sort of importing creators rather than creating any new talent themselves?
I think there is a bit of that. I think what we really need to do is to find commissioners and producers who understand how a creator works with their audience and how they make content and how they can make a show or an episode of something within very few days and get more viewers than a TV show that takes 6 months to make can get. I think people pretend that doesn't exist when it does. I think TV can learn so much from that. And when everyone starts to do that, I think we're going to see some really incredible television, which will be creator-led, creator-produced.
Is that happening yet?
In small bursts. There's a couple of shows that I'm aware of where the producer, maybe not solely, maybe there's a co-production element going on. The producer is the creator, and they have the vision, and they're running it like it's a YouTube show. And I think that's really cool. And I think we're going to see more of that. And we're pushing that big time. And we're working a lot with Channel 4. I think Channel 4, out of everyone, is really working hard to lead the way in terms of terrestrial television, in terms of bringing people in. I think they're doing a great job.
And they've obviously got 4.0, their YouTube channel, which is kind of very new talent focused.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for us. Whenever we meet new talent, wherever they come from, one of the questions they ask is where can we break through into TV? And previously, over the years, you've had everything from Blue Peter to T4 and those things have gone. And for the last sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, when we've found great new talent, the hardest challenge is breaking them. But now there's a place, and that place could be 4.0. And we've got to grab that and hold on to that and make more of those avenues, because without that, we're going to lose a lot of people. We're going to lose a lot of great talent who just won't be able to find their way into television.
You're talking about younger talent there. You were the youngest MD for InterTalent at 34?
I was 34. I'm definitely not 34 now. I'm 30.
Very young to take on quite a large operation.
Yeah.
Why was it important for a 34-year-old to do it? Or was that just, the age didn't really matter?
No, well, when I took over, so I've been at InterTalent for 13 years, and we've been, we're a company that's nearly 35 years old. So we've been through different guises and different forms. When I took over running the company during COVID, we only did 3 things. We only had acting, unscripted, which is TV and other things, and music. And I felt that was very limiting. And I had this fear, these sleepless nights, where I worried that our clients were going to outgrow us. Because over the last 5 years, talent have wanted to not stay in one lane. They've wanted to try everything and do everything and take their talents all over the place. And my fear was that we wouldn't be able, with only 3 divisions, we wouldn't be able to keep up with that. And ultimately, we'd lose them. They'd walk out the door. So it's very important to me to diversify. And I think that any talent or any agency that sticks to their one lane is running a massive risk of not being able to keep up with where this industry is going. So very quickly, I assembled some great staff that would come in new divisions, and we now do 10 different things. And even I'm not even satisfied with that, really. I think there's more we can do. But it meant that every time a client came to us and said, I've got that idea, and I want to act, I want to sing, I want to present, I want to be a gamer, I knew that in our 4 walls, we could service that. And I think that it was important to me to not be old-fashioned, and important to me to have this ecosystem that could adapt to where our clients were heading towards, and not to be defensive or blinkered about that. And even looking at celebrity traitors, who would have ever thought that Celia Imrie would appear on a reality show? And can her agent achieve that for her? I never wanted to be in a position where we couldn't do that. And I had this fear. And one of my big things, and maybe it is my age of when I had, was talking to my chairman about taking the job, was we're not doing enough. And we're seeing the proof of that now, because we have a lot of multifaceted clients who love being with us because they can keep all their businesses under one roof. So that's kind of how we've set up over. In 5 years, we have grown from a team of 20 to a team of 51, which is a lot. But it's never been about being big. It's just about being able to achieve the things we want to achieve.
I mean, Heather, this is sort of something we hear from lots of kind of what previously talent agents are getting very much into the production world, aren't they, as well?
Yes, and I think everyone now is turning around and being like, oh my God, we need to look at digital. And I haven't heard the term creator economy more than in the last 2 months. To the point, we're doing an event on the creator economy in November.
I'll be there.
Fantastic.
All available at broadcast. Tickets available at broadcast now.
Yeah.
But I think that there is that thing of, people want to be involved in all aspects of the production. I think that's what they find exciting about TV, is that they get to be involved in making something at a bigger scale that feels, like you said, look at me, Mom, I've got a proper job, I'm working on this big thing, rather than something that's primarily viewed on a phone. I can see why that appeals so much.
And I think that we all have this fear of being left behind. And this industry is moving. I've never seen it move so fast. And obviously, we haven't even discussed AI in this. But we haven't seen it. You go on holiday for a week and you come back, and that week you've lost. And even for us as staff, and even for me being here, for example, and I'm a big fan of your Substack. I've got a Substack. For me, even as a business leader in this industry, I feel that I have to now be doing different things. I can't just be doing deals. I now have to, I'm LinkedIn or Substack and podcasts, and I think that everyone is in a race, and anyone that is embracing all the different ways to distribute content, all the different platforms that are now very free to enter. If you're not grabbing those with both hands, I do worry as to where you might be in 5 years' time. And now, talent are becoming producers and making. I think these things are just a natural evolution of talent getting smarter. And from my point of view, is not, if my client's running at 100 miles an hour, I need to be running at 120. They want it badly. So it's a really fascinating time to run a talent agency, because it is relentless. And every week, every month, there's something new that we feel like we better find out about that before our talent do, because they will come to us asking to be on it, and we better know our stuff. So
I was looking at your Substack, it's Deal Makers.
Deal Makers, yes.
And you're basically saying that sort of everyone should have an agent.
Yeah, I believe that. There are some talent that don't.
Because sometimes if you're a really large talent,
Sure.
They opt out of the system, and often their sister or their sister-in-law ends up being their agent.
Yeah, I find. Listen, I struggle with that a bit because I don't like the idea that I do maybe I'm being blinkered here. I don't like the idea that I'm doing a job that any old mate and brother can do. I think that I think I've worked. I think we've all worked. But I understand why some top talent have opted out. But the truth is, my feeling is this: when there's something important in your life. Health or needing a mortgage, you always or a lawyer, you always go and get a specialist. So I find it weird that in your career, which is one of the most important things you can do, that you wouldn't have a specialist. And to the people that I guess are going without an agent, who are very big, there's enough coming in that I think it's okay for now. But I do think at some point there needs to be more, and I think there needs to be more of a proactive outreach, which is where we come in. So I don't think we're going anywhere, and I don't think AI is going to replace us either. I've had that conversation. But no, I do think all talent need an agent because we are specialists and we're there to amplify their work. And anyone that thinks that we're not needed, I would love to have that conversation with them.
Okay, we've just got enough time for the Audio Network media quiz. Let's see how much attention our guests have been paying to the media news this week. This week's quiz is called Shark Den. If this week's AWS outage tells us anything, it's that we should be less reliant on single companies and champion the small businesses of tomorrow. And that's why I'll be highlighting some new business ideas pitched to you in the style of Dragon's Den / Shark Tank. Okay. And once again, Alex at Audio Network has patiently assisted producer Matt in one of his more underwhelming briefs and created a playlist of music to score today's game. Okay, so best of three. Buzz in with your names if you know the answer. So Heather, you will say
Heather.
And Alex, you will say
Alex.
Let's play Shark Den. Good evening, Sharks. I'm pitching a radical new presenter that doesn't need a salary, breaks or sleep, yet can host a TV show. I now seek investment to scale this AI presenter as a service across broadcasters worldwide. Who wants in and at what equity? Heather.
This is, I'm assuming, Channel 4's quite splashy new presenter who appeared on a Dispatches programme. I think her name was something like Aisha Gaban.
Well, yeah, so this is Kalal Productions, kind of sort of pranked viewers of Channel 4's Dispatches with an AI
big
host.
Reveal that she wasn't actually a real person
Yes.
at the end.
Do you think it fooled people?
Slightly unsettling. Well, I was reading that she's very good at kind of bits to camera, but they weren't able, the way that we're sat down now, because the technology would mean that like her hands would look weird or like it wouldn't quite work. I've seen it a couple of times. I think I listened to a podcast by the newsagents where Lewis Goodall did a similar thing where he got his voice to be put in, and it was Lewis Goodall's voice, but it was an AI talking, and it was quite freaky. It does make you quite uncomfortable. I like to think that presenters are safe for now because we have hands that look normal. But
that's our saving grace. I worry.
If that's the barometer, we're in serious trouble.
I'm dreadful at bits to camera, so maybe a virtual version of me would be quite useful.
No, not at all.
Were you fooled by the AI?
I was. I thought they did a fantastic job. I think as a one-off kind of let's do this. Obviously, I thought it was great. I don't think we can all be
as a stunt.
As a stunt, I don't think we can all be too mad, and I like it. Fair play to them for doing it. I'm not, I know there's been a whole big thing about whether you can represent, an agency can represent an AI actor apparently or a presenter. I don't think I need to start doing that just yet. But to be fair, I thought it was very impressive.
Okay, here's Shark Den pitch number 2. Sharks. Today I bring you a media play, a new audio-visual brand launching before its actual broadcast station exists. Every Monday, 2 well-known Scottish voices will break down all the biggest stories in Scottish football, games, recaps, referee controversies, upcoming fixtures. It'll drop in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube and STV Player.
I'm going to say Alex.
Alex, yes.
So this is STV's podcast world that's been created. Is that right?
Yes, they've got a radio station that's coming soon, but they've kind of gone early with the sort of the sports phone in by putting it on YouTube podcasts.
The rise of the visualised podcast continues.
Yeah,
I have a issue with the term visualised podcast. It is just television, right?
Yeah. But good idea to get going.
Yeah, in a way, I guess it's maybe a proof of concept, or let's see what everyone thinks about it before. It's like a soft launch, isn't it?
Yeah, dipping the toe in the water.
I think the TV, podcast, YouTube, it's all merging into one. Are we surprised of anyone getting into podcasts? We had the Netflix news recently. Not at all. Does this make sense given STV's recent news and everything they've been going through? No, it doesn't. I think it could be a smart play.
Right, one more to go.
Neck and neck.
Sharks, I present a bold gamble. A new high-stakes game show format where contestants will face 100 distinct decisions that test intuition, strategy and nerve. This isn't just talk. The Game Show Network has already put it into development in the US, partnering with producers behind On Brand with Jimmy Fallon. Who's in?
I'm going to say Heather.
Yes.
I think this is the 100 Choices.
Yes.
Has now been kind of, the format's been acquired by
the Game Show
US.
Network. Yeah.
Yes. It sounds really bizarre, but I think that might make it work. You have a difficult question, you have 100 choices, but it's almost impossible to narrow it down. So they have to partake in like physical challenges to try and whittle it down a bit.
Okay. Just sounds like work. Just sounds like your job. 100 decisions that are quite hard to make.
Continuously just emptying the inbox always. But I think, Japanese formats are having a bit of a moment, and I will be intrigued to see if perhaps the UK might be interested in this format as well.
It could be a great new Claudia Winkleman show, perhaps.
Well, Tess is also going to be looking for a few jobs.
Yes. Congratulations, Heather. You have just pipped Alex to the post. My thanks to both of you. And also to another great Alex at Audio Network, for supplying today's music. Remember, Audio Network can do that for you. Just head to audionetwork.com. So where can we keep up with all your good work, Heather?
Good question. I'm terrible at doing it, but I'm trying to be more active on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Okay. I also have a Blue Sky.
Good.
My Twitter is Heather Fallon, but with 2 N's, because someone already took Heather Fallon. And I mean, my name is my name.
Elon is auctioning off old Twitter usernames, the next username, so maybe you can find that proper Heather Fallon after all.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
And Alex?
Yeah, I think I'll give a plug to my Substack called Deal Makers, which is me just breaking down what it's really like to be a talent agent, peek behind the curtain. Is it really like Call My Agent or Jerry Maguire, all those things, and just what it's like to run a talent agency. So, if you just search Deal Makers with Alex Segal on Substack, you'll find me there. Well,
we'll put a link on our Substack as well. Thank you both. And thank you for watching and listening this week. My name is Matt Deegan. The producer was Matt Hill. It was a Rethink audio production with visual support from Podcast Discovery. I'll see you next week.